As you can probably tell, we're big fans of Jon Stewart here on Rising. He's been talking a lot lately, promoting his new film. He was on The View with some interesting prediction about the election, which I'm not sure I agree with, but I want to break it down with Ryan. Let's take a listen.
Well, I just feel like we're in such pain. There's so much anguish, and I think it's clear in this election. Look, what's Donald Trump going to run on? His record? That's not going to happen. So this is going to be, he's going to go Father Coughlin. Like, this is going to be the single most divisive campaign we've ever faced. It's going to be, he's going to be meth head Nixon. Like, it's going to be Southern strategy, all fear mongering. I mean, you see it right now. He's basically just sitting in his basement tweeting out fear-based trolling videos. This is what it's going to be.
So I'm not sure I necessarily agree there, Ryan, because what I would think is that for it to be a strategy, it would have to be a strategy, which is that I don't think that this is a strategy. And my fundamental critique of the Trump campaign and much of their messaging right now is that they don't have a strategy, that they are not running on a positive vision for the country, really outside of get the country back to work again, but without any of the requisite economic policy that would back that up, along with a very haphazard Sleepy Joe and China. I mean, they tried out different things, but nothing seems to be a cohesive case as to why they're running against Biden. And in a way, I mean, we saw this in 2016. It was a very coherent case against Hillary Clinton. More neoliberalism or not. I don't see that right now. And so whenever he says, I think it will be very divisive and all of that, I don't see Trump reacting or acting with the same vigor and coherence against Biden that he did against Hillary, which is what made him so deadly effective against Hillary in the same way. So if anything, I just think it'll be a series of up or down news cycles all the way to the election day. I really believe that's what it is. And Biden will mostly sit it out because we're living in a moment where Trump is really not even in the driver's seat. The coronavirus is in the driver's seat and the protest movement. That's all that's really in the news. It's just totally out of his control.
Yeah, the Trump campaign might have a strategy or might have a hoped-for strategy,
right.
but Trump has Trump. And in some ways, he's been gobbled up by social media in the same way that a lot of our friends have, that they have realized that the way to get likes and retweets is to go more extreme and continue to pitch content to your most fervent supporters. And Trump has said that he absolutely loves sitting there, watching the retweets and likes go up. And he loves
he loves watching cable news cover it.
How that bounces from there to cable news while he's watching it. And so that is going to just continue to feed itself. And so he'll continue to tweet outrageous things, get those likes, get those retweets, and that will create those news cycles that you talked about, those going up and down, that Biden will mostly sit out. He'll put out statements and put out and occasionally do short interviews, pushing back against it. But he doesn't. There's not much that he needs to do. And that was proven not to work in the 2018 midterms. Remember he did. They thought that Kavanaugh and the caravan were going to energize enough non-voters that were going to come out to the polls and they were going to save Trump. He did terribly, not just in the suburbs, but he did terribly in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, which all went Democratic.
But what's strange is that it did work in a strange way, in that it saved some of the Republicans, in Tennessee, in red states. So it drove up the red state dynamic. But you're right, which is that I've never thought that just going full red state stuff is ever going to save you, because I fully believe that the economic populist part of the Trump campaign in 2016 is what won over those white working class states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and others. So if you're just going on the culture front, you have to pair that with more meat. I'm not saying that because many of these working class voters agree on the cultural front, but that's not what animates their primary results, which is that what screwed the 2018 midterms, which Republicans never want to talk about, is healthcare. Their effort to repeal Obamacare. You can go ask any Republican who lost in 2018, and I did. I said, "Why did you lose?" Obamacare. I voted on Obamacare, and we couldn't deliver, and they said I wanted to take away their healthcare. They don't listen. What did we cover yesterday? Supreme Court going after Obamacare. It's like they have a total misreading of the electoral populace that they actually want to reach. So I think Jon is wrong. I don't think it's going to be that divisive because I think people are over the day-to-day news cycle, oh, Sleepy Joe, like all that other stuff. When the stakes are as high as they are economically and your health, people don't care about such things.
Right. So I think Trump's major speeches and his television ads will try to cut a much more sunny disposition. Richard Nixon in 1972 ran as the sunny candidate. The 68, he did the law and order, Southern strategy, kind of race baiting guy. But when you're in the White House, you can't run as the law and order candidate.
Right, because you are law and order.
You are the law and order. Right. So do your law and order now. We're not going to re-elect you so that you can do your law and order in 2021. If you could do it, you'd be doing it right now. And so the Nixon campaign recognized that. Trump's campaign recognizes that. The question is, does Trump recognize that? Unlikely. So his Twitter feed will continue to be divisive, but his Twitter feed doesn't have the same ability to get attention as it used to, which drives him crazy and feeds that process.
And I think
even further.
that is the key point, which is that what Jon is ascribing more strategy and more normal political conditions that actually exist. We can't underestimate just how crazy of a time that we're living in. Like, I was telling you this earlier. We are, a couple months out of Election Day? The VP stakes is all anybody on cable should be talking about right now. No, who cares? Nobody cares right now about VP stakes. Seriously, we've covered so many different campaigns. How many, the little things that become stories in campaigns, so-and-so gets fired, here's the new strategy, Biden's message of the week, it's irrelevant. Joe Biden is an irrelevant figure in this campaign. Trump is half relevant. It's all just about the macroeconomic and macro pandemic conditions that exist that is going to decide this election. And if Trump wants to get a handle on it, he has to respond to those incentives. But there just seems to be a willful strategy to try and wish cast the pandemic away. Not going to happen, and predictable results, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like there's a campaign. Like in 2012, 2016, you say, I'm covering the campaign. You understood what the campaign was. It had a narrative, it had an arc. It was building toward a particular place where you could see it going in different directions, but you saw what those directions were. Of course, there's a campaign on, but not really. Mm-hmm. What we're in is a pandemic. A state of uprising,
economic depression, with wages and incomes going up.
That's what's happening. The campaign is very much in the background.
Yeah, and that is just a strategy. That's why I think Jon missed the mark on this one, but we still love him over here at Rising. So tomorrow we're going to discuss the president's case for re-election with somebody from the Trump campaign, maybe press them a little bit.
And HuffPost politics reporter Dan Marins will join us. We'll discuss the president's case for re-election.
All right, so please like and share and subscribe to this video so you never miss one. We'll see you guys tomorrow.